Hi, Luis. This is Michael from BetterTOEFLScores.com. I'm going to listen to an integrated speaking practice test that you emailed me. In your email, you say, "Hey, Michael, please correct my auto response on this speaking practice test. Merry Christmas." And Merry Christmas to you, too. And in the last practice test, I actually gave you a very strong score. So let's see if you're continuing with this steady onward progress with your overall speaking fluency. I think I estimated your score to be somewhere around maybe 25 to 27 points out of 30. I have the integrated speaking rubrics from Educational Testing Service in front of me on my desktop. I also have your a recording of your response. So you're summarizing, I think, some information from a reading and listening passage. So this is what we call TOEFL integrated task number 4. All right, I'm going to listen to it. I'm going to give you an estimated score. I'm going to go over some things that you can do to improve your overall speaking fluency. So ultimately, you can score higher on the TOEFL exam. And this is exactly what my TOEFL speaking and writing feedback service does at Better TOEFL Scores.
This lecture is mainly about interior design, and the speaker defines the term of effective design as the balance between two elements, unity and contrast.
Good. So I like how you're using that compound sentence to connect the most important points from the reading and listening passage. You're also varying your tone, which is good, especially when you had those two ideas there. Listen to this one more
Between
time.
two elements, unity and contrast.
Good. Unity and contrast. I like how your tone went up slightly in the first noun and then it falls on the
Unity
second
is
one.
defined by the speaker as consistency, as
And you're also explaining things from the point of the view of the author of the reading passage or the speaker in the
to
lecture.
put together simple elements. For example, the speaker says that a light green shade wall combined with a dark green shade sofa.
That's where your speaking rate is not as good as it could be. So you're having some minor kind of hiccups in there. So you have to be a little bit smoother, I think, with your speaking rate in the sense that you're linking the words within the thought groups a little bit better.
It will produce an outcome of an organized and comfort room.
Now, of an organized and comfortable room. So clearly you had some problems with your word choice. So I think organized room, organized is it's a verb being used as an adjective. Then you have comfort, which is a noun. The adjective form there is comfortable. So you want to say organized and comfortable room. I think that's going to be better.
An organized and comfort room. In addition, contrast is defined by the speaker as a disruption in unity in a careful and intentional way. And for getting that result, we need to abruptly change
Yeah, I would be careful about using personal pronouns like I or me or we. Focus on the information.
colors, for example. And to sum up, the speaker says that rather than focus in one aspect over the other of effective design, we should
Use to focus in or on. Let me go back to that.
colors, for example. And to sum up, the speaker says that rather than focus in one aspect,
Focus on one aspect, not focus in one aspect. So your first language is Spanish. So be careful about these three prepositions in, on, and at. Those are really tricky because I think in Spanish you have only one instead of three. You have in, en. But in English, when you have that one preposition in Spanish, there's three possibilities in English: in, on, and at. So do some study to try to get a little bit better handle on how to use those kinds of prepositions in the spoken and the written
over the
language.
other of effective design, we should focus on the balance between the two of them.
Okay, so I think I have it. So when I look at the response, and maybe I'll listen to it one more time, but I'm thinking you're probably between 23 and 25 points on this one. So let's take a look at it in a little bit more detail. So I think you're probably maybe 3 delivery, 3 language use, maybe 4 topic development. And that's going to end up probably where I think you are, right around 3. Um, you're between maybe 3 and 3.5. So I'm going to say 23 to 25 points. So 3 says for delivery, speech is clear. You have some minor difficulties with not really tone. I think you did a pretty good job on the tone. I think some problems with pacing with this one. You have, I think, pretty good, fairly automatic, effective use of grammar vocabulary, but some of those awkward pauses in there kind of shows me your automaticity of your language use is not native speaker like yet. So I think that's going to kind of drive down your score a little bit. You remember the problem you had between comfort, which is a noun, versus comfortable, which is an adjective. So that's a problem with word choice. So be careful about your words that you're putting in the sentences and make sure you have the correct ending on the word based on how it modifies, in this case, a noun. Language use, I think, was very strong. You had a nice introduction. I like your use of transition words. Even near the end, you said to sum up. I think that's also good the way you did that. It's very easy to see the organization of your ideas. You embedded voice markers throughout your response that clearly marks what you said as a summary, right? So I can tell that you're explaining information from a reading and listening passage based on how you the voice markers that you used in there. Okay, in conclusion, I'm going to kind of go over some basic things I think that you can work on to help you get better. So I told you that you're right now between 23 and 25 out of 30 points, right? So the question is, what do you do? I mean, how do you get better here? So I'm going to give you some feedback along with strategies in certain areas. So your speaking rate needs to be smoother with better connection between words in the same thought group. So here's some strategies. A thought group is a chunk of speech that conveys a main idea. You want to practice breaking the sentences into what's called natural groups or grammatical thought groups. For example, you have the author explains, notice the pause, that pollution is a major cause. So we're breaking this sentence in between the independent and the dependent clause there. Or if you have a compound sentence, you might say the lecturer disagrees and points out other factors. So again, you're pausing right after the first independent clause and before the, actually right after the verb and before the coordinating conjunction. Okay, so let's take a look at some basic rules with linking, I think, which can help you. So let's talk about consonants to vowels. So if a word ends with a consonant and next starts with a vowel, you want to link them together. For example, if you have an and then author, you're going to take the N and link that to the first vowel of the next word. It'll sound like an author. Now, what do you do if you have similar consonants? So if one word ends and the next begins with the same consonant, pronounce it as one sound, but maybe make it a little longer. So the word big game, it sounds more like big game. Vowel to vowel. If two vowels meet, glide between them. For example, you have the word go and then the preposition on. It'll sound like go on, go on. So practice shadowing exercises with TOEFL speaking samples, imitating the rhythm and the linking that I'm trying to show you here. Be careful about the TH sound. So focus on correctly pronouncing both the interdental voiced and voiceless TH sounds. So let's take a look at the voiced interdental TH sound, as in this and the. So place the tip of your tongue gently between the teeth. That's the key. You have to insert the tongue between the teeth, vibrate your vocal cords as you push the air through. So repeat these words with me. This, that, other, other. You try, your tendency to say like other, but it's more other. So again, the key is to insert the tongue in between the teeth. Okay, voiceless TH, as in think and both. So the similar placement of the tongue, you'll say place the tongue in the same way, but do not vibrate the vocal cords this time. For example, repeat these words: think, path, thank. So practice alternating between voiced and voiceless sounds in minimal pairs. Want to practice these with me, Luis? How about this? This, think. That, thank. They, thought. So repeat the phrases slowly, then increase your speed until they become more natural. Something like this. They think about their theories. Avoid personal pronouns is some more feedback. So you use the word we a few times in the response. So avoid using we. Focus on objective summaries that align with the TOEFL requirements. So replace personal pronouns. Instead of using we, you can say things like, it is clear that, the author explains that, according to the lecture, blah, blah, blah. So to help you here, you can rewrite personal summaries into impersonal ones and practice saying them aloud. For example, we can see that pollution caused the decline. You can say, it is evident that pollution caused the decline. So here's some final 4 basic tips that you can do to help you get higher than that 25 points I'm giving you right now. So you can do 5 minutes of tongue twisters focusing on TH sounds. Think about this theory, for example. Thought groups. Record yourself reading a passage, mark the thought groups, focus on linking within the thought groups. I think that's going to be good for you. Shadowing. Mimic TOEFL speaking answers, paying attention to linking and fluency. And then make sure that you're objective in your speaking, especially for TOEFL integrated task number 2, 3, and 4. So summarize a short text without using personal pronouns. So I think being consistent with these strategies will help you to improve both your fluency and your pronunciation, which will help you to boost your TOEFL speaking score. All right, Luis, and thank you very much for completing this practice test.